Hello, we are making, oh my goodness, my hands. Hashtag artist hands, guys. Am I right? Okay, we are making a color wheel today. And for this, you're going to need your paper. This is a 9 by 12. It's a little bit heavier than a regular printer paper. This is 100 pound. It's probably similar to what you have in your sketchbook if you're doing this from home. You'll need a pencil and a bottle cap, and this is a little bit bigger than a regular like water bottle cap. This is more of like a Powerade bottle cap size, a little bit bigger. And then you will need a paintbrush, water, and then some watercolors, but you only need the primary colors here. Okay, so just these primary colors. Now, to start off with our color wheel, I'm going to turn my paper right up here, and I'm going to put my circle up here, and we're just going to be tracing this circle. And when we're making our color wheel, we're going to try to make it kind of round, but because our paper is so rectangular, it's going to be a little bit harder to look round. Okay, so as long as it kind of goes in the same idea, the same general idea or shape, it might end up looking kind of like a diamond. That's okay. We're just doing our best on this one. So I'm going to put my first one up here, and I'm going to trace this around towards the top of my paper, like so. Okay, and now I'm going to bring this straight down here and do the same thing again. So I'm tracing my bottle cap. Like so. Okay, so it's kind of like a clock face. So I have my 12 o'clock here and I have my 6 o'clock here. Okay, on this side, I'm going to do my 3 o'clock, and this is right about in the middle between these two circles, and I just move it over to the edge. Okay, so I'm going to trace this here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to just drag it across here. Okay. Just like so. Okay, now I'm going to add in 2 circles between each of these. I have my 12, my 3, my 6, and my 9 right here. Okay, so I'm going to add in the 1 and 2, 4 and 5, 7 and 8, 10 and 11. Okay, so I'm going to draw this here. And whenever I do this, I don't want to go directly diagonal. I want to kind of come out here just a little bit because that's going to help round my color wheel out. So I've got that one, and I'm adding 2 for each of these. Boom, I have 12 circles here. Let's go ahead and double check this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. Now, when we're doing our color wheel, we want to go ahead and label this with the colors. Okay, so we have our primary colors, our secondary colors, and our tertiary colors. That's what makes up our 12 colors on the color wheel. Okay, so first I'm going to start off with yellow right up here, and I'm not going to put it in the circle. I'm going to put it below or to the outside, whatever works best for you. So I'm going to do yellow. Okay, this next one is going to be yellow, orange. Okay, the next color is orange, red, orange, and then red. Okay, so yellow and red are my primary colors here. Orange is my secondary color, and then yellow, orange, and red, orange are both tertiary colors. Now, I can figure out how to make orange based on what 2 colors what two primary colors it falls between, and it goes between yellow and red. So when I'm mixing up my colors here, I know that I'm going to use the yellow and the red. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to keep in mind is for my tertiary colors, we want to call them by their actual names. The name colors, oh my gosh, the color names are yellow, orange. Instead of saying something like sunshine yellow or sunny D orange, right? We want to say yellow orange because that's more specific and it means the same thing to everybody. Everybody knows yellow orange is the color that goes between yellow and orange. Okay, if I came up to you and said tangerine, you might think that's just plain orange, or you might think that's more of a yellow orange, or you might think it's more of a red orange. Okay, but yellow orange is very specific and it tells you how to make those colors, right? So I can mix yellow and orange together to get yellow orange. Okay, let's continue down here. We have red, violet, violet, blue, violet, and then blue. Okay, now between these two, I have my red and my blue. This is my other primary color. This is my secondary color, violet. Okay, and one other thing that is helpful for us is if I'm making the color blue violet, I know that it's going to have more blue than it has red because it's closer to the blue. So it's going to look a little bit more bluer. Red violet is going to look a little more red because it's so close to the red. Another thing to keep in mind is when you're writing your tertiary colors, whenever we write those, it's the primary color that comes first. So it is always blue violet, not violet blue. Okay, same thing with red violet. We don't say violet red. Okay, so we have blue, blue, green, green, and I don't know, let's see. We have yellow, we have green, so this one must be yellow green. Okay, so we have all 12 of those drawn up, and now I'm going to mix some colors. When you're making your color wheel, I recommend starting with the yellow first. The yellow is the lightest color on our color wheel generally, and it's the easiest one to have other colors mix into. Okay, so if you start off and you have a yellow, if you do your yellow last, you might accidentally have red or blue in it by the time you get to yellow. And so it's hard to get a nice pure yellow. Okay, so I'm mixing my colors and I'm carefully painting in here. A nice solid yellow, and I want to make sure it's nice and neat, going to the edge of my circle, just like that. And on the screen, it kind of has almost an orange tint, but in person, it is a solid, classic yellow. Okay, now I'm going to move on to my yellow orange. Now my yellow orange is going to have a little tiny bit of red into it, but mostly yellow. So I'm going to dip in my yellow first, and then I'm going to dip a little bit into the red, and I'm going to mix this onto my paper and see if that is red enough or not. And I didn't get enough red. I'm being too careful, apparently. Okay, let's try this. It's a little bit better. There we go. So I have a nice yellow orange. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and make my orange next. right here. Add a little bit more pigment. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to move on to my red orange here. I'm going to add a little bit more red onto my brush. There we go. And I'm going to do plain red for my next one. Sometimes red looks a little bit pinkish when you're using watercolor because the water lightens up the pigment just a little bit. So if yours ends up looking kind of pinkish, it's probably because you had a lot of water on your brush. Okay, let's finish our color wheel up, shall we? So there's red, violet. There's violet. Now let's move on to our blue, violet. Our blue, violet. Okay, now I'm going to start adding a little bit of yellow to my blue in order to make a blue-green. Okay, I've finished my blue-green. I'm going to work on my regular green now. Okay, and last but not least, my yellow-green. All right, and that's it. Okay, so my colors on the screen compared to what they look like in person look a little bit more dull. So up close, you can kind of see. I think they have just kind of a redder tint to them, which is very strange. In person, they look a lot more vibrant. But this is how you create a color wheel only using primary colors in your watercolor.